Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to our episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today is, what do you think about adding more weapon sights into Rainbow Six Siege? Maybe somewhere in between an ACOG and a holographic. I did not realize how much I wanted something like this added in Rainbow Six Siege until I read your comments. To have another scope, or a bunch of other scopes, that was in between the magnification of an ACOG and your red dot sights, that would be amazing and give us a whole lot more variety when we are customizing our weapons. Right now, everything is more at the extremes. We have the ACOG, which is going to be great for sniping people and landing headshots at long range. But if you want to get more intimate and you want to be aggressive, of course, using something like the holographic is going to be way more advantageous. We don't have anything that's best of both worlds, which this would accomplish. I have a suspicion that me and a lot of other players, if we had this option, would absolutely gravitate towards this. I like to be aggressive. I like to be able to kind of see what's going on around me when I'm using a red dot sight, but I also like the advantage that comes from using a higher optic because it makes it a lot easier to see what's going on inside of a room. I cannot tell you how many times I've died while using a red dot sight because I just didn't see that guy way out in the distance when I was trying to clear the objective. Same is true for the ACOG. You're scanning the objective, you think the coast is clear, but then all of a sudden someone pops out of nowhere directly in front of you, and now you have this really high optic scope, making it much more challenging to line up the shot that you want, which of course is the headshots. And so to have something in between would be phenomenal. Now, the only thing I can think of for why Ubisoft hasn't given us more customization like this is that they may want to have that more rock, paper, scissors balance. If everyone's able to use this new optic, which is best of both worlds, most people might gravitate towards it because it doesn't have those severe disadvantages. Yeah, it may not be the best long range or close quarter scope, but it doesn't have those huge hindrances like the other ones do. They may want to avoid that. And while I realize that some of you are probably thinking right now that this sounds like a fairly weak argument for not bringing in more scope customizations, like that's your reason? Well, that's the only thing I can think of for why they haven't done this already. And so I'm right there with you. I would love to have some sort of scope that was in between these magnifications. I know that I would use it. I have a feeling a lot of my friends would like to use it as well. And if they even didn't want to do that, adding in just more scope customization in general, I think would be a good thing. People like to tailor their customization to their liking, and if we had just more options, maybe in the ACOG category, kind of in that realm, or even more holographics and things to that nature, I think a lot of people would be on board with that concept. The next question comes from EVGA King, and it is, do you think that gas grenades need to be nerfed in Battlefield 1? I would not complain about this whatsoever if DICE decided to change these things. I realize that gas is completely authentic to World War I. This was something that soldiers had to deal with on a daily basis. It was brutal, it was horrific, and it was something that these brave men had to overcome, but in Battlefield 1, it's just turned in more of a nuisance than anything else. It is incredibly frustrating when you're playing as any class, really, other than maybe the assault class, to have gas all around you consistently when you're trying to take an objective. Even when it's a friendly gas grenade, it's a nightmare because it also suppresses you, making it really difficult to take someone out at a distance. On top of that, there's all these different aspects about it that are just annoying. It goes through walls. I mean, I've been in a bunker, someone threw a gas grenade above the bunker, so it had to pass through like 10 feet of concrete, and it still was causing the gas effect. I was taking damage from it. The fact that you get two of them and they last like 30 seconds, so they just persist and persist, is another issue. The question is now, though, how would you go about nerfing these bad boys? The easiest and most simplistic solution is reducing the amount of gas grenades you have from 2 to 1. There, we just cut the amount of spam in half. The problem with this solution, though, is that might be too much of a nerf. If you now need to make the decision between one frag grenade and one gas grenade, I have a feeling that most people are going to gravitate towards the frag grenade. Another way that they could solve this is just making sure that the gas can't pass through walls. And while I know that destruction probably makes this a hell of a lot more complicated to code, how do you ensure that the gas passes through a wall when you want it to if that wall is destructible? Like, I don't even claim to be a programmer. I have no idea what has to go on in the back end to make this thing thing work, but they've already demonstrated that it is possible with the incendiary grenades. Incendiary grenades, to my knowledge, don't go through walls right now like they did in past Battlefield games, and so it seems like if they found the solution for that, why can't they just transition that on over to the gas grenades? So that would be another solution. The final thing I can think of is maybe a combination of these things, but also maybe make it so that if you pass along the fringe of the gas, you just don't take as much damage and are not suppressed as much. I feel like if you pass through the center of the gas grenade, you should take more damage than someone who just kind of stepped into it for a split second and then ran away. And while I realize that's not exactly how mustard gas works in real life, like if you get this anywhere near your body, like it's going to destroy you. Like this thing is horrible stuff. That's the reason why it's banned. Like in a video game, at least allow the player to interact with the environment more, and if they're skillful, just avoid the situation entirely or kind of work around it and not take that full damage from the gas. That would be another solution. And so I'm going to be interested to see how DICE handles this into the future. They may change nothing. They may be content and happy with its current performance and they won't nerf it at all, but I'm hoping that's not the case. It's annoying when you're on the receiving end, it's annoying when your teammates use it directly on you, and I would hope that they would at least make some slight adjustments. The next question comes from DGMA, and it is, what are your thoughts on the rank system in Rainbow Six Siege? It seems that up to Gold 4, every victory or defeat implies a rank up or a rank down respectively. So the ranks you have is changing almost constantly, and it makes it harder, I think, to do a proper matchmaking. Yeah, the matchmaking system is a little weird in Rainbow Six Siege, I'll give you that. I think the way it works, to my understanding, some of you I'm sure will correct me, but I believe the way that it works is that for the first couple of matches, you're gonna see a lot of movement in your rank. So if you start at Silver 4, you win like 10 matches in a row, you can go all the way to Platinum, like it's that fast. If you're constantly winning and losing, you'll bounce between Gold 4, Gold 3, or Platinum and just keep bouncing in between there. The matchmaking system is trying to figure out where to place you. As soon as you get to like 50 or 100 matches, win or loss, that's where things start to slow down. If you've won that many, then it's gonna be like, oh, you're only gonna lose 20 points, 10 points maybe. I had a round recently where I only gained 4 points. That's it. It's a significant difference from what it was at the beginning where I was getting upwards of like 150 points win or loss. And so my advice is to not get discouraged by the ranking system. I know that it seems wonky and weird, but to my understanding, it's just trying to figure out where to place you. After it's kind of got a better understanding of your skill level and how you perform in relation to everyone else, it's going to settle down and you're not going to see these massive changes up or down. At that point though, if you do want to rank up higher, it's actually going to be much more challenging than at the start of the season because you're now having to grind through more and more games to make that jump up to Plat 1 or Plat 4 or Diamond even. At this point, you're trying to prove to the matchmaking system that you deserve that rank up. Like, you're gonna have to win a lot of rounds consistently to prove that, hey, I am better than Gold 4, I deserve that Plat 1. The next question is, what do you think of a map-themed hostage? For example, the skyscraper map could have a kimono hostage, favela could have a guy in a soccer jersey, the boat could have a captain, etc. I think this would be a nice visual aspect. Yeah, I think this is a swell idea. This has been something that a lot of people have been asking for quite some time now. It hasn't been a high priority request by any stretch of the imagination, but some people would like there to be a further layer of authenticity when we are playing on the game mode hostage. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense that this random schmuck is in the middle of the presidential plan. Like, why aren't we trying to save the president? Or why aren't we trying to save this really badass suit guy who's really influential? You know, why can't they customize it for the map? Now, the only thing I can think of for why they won't do this, and it's a pretty big reason, is that this would require time and investment on the part of Ubisoft to do so. They would have to create upwards of, I think, 15 different new skins for all of the maps. I think we have, 15 maps, so both male and female. That's 30 different skins for a hostage, which doesn't actually see any playtime. And while it would be a nice layer of polish, like, don't get me wrong, I would love the authenticity, it would kind of add in a further layer of realism, it would make sense. Do we really need this? This doesn't impact the gameplay, it wouldn't really do anything for the longevity of the game, it would just be a layer of polish that I would like, but it is just polish. And so while I'm right there with you, I don't think this will ever happen unless this game just gets gigantic, unless they're just making money hand over fist and they've got all this time on their hands to just try to add something to the game that they've wanted to do for quite some time and now they have the resource to do so. I just don't see this happening. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you like the idea of the gas grenade getting nerfed? Do you think that's a horrible idea? Would you like to see different versions of the hostage added into Rainbow Six Siege? Give me your guys' thoughts down below. As always, if you would like to submit your own question, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.